Where we got to today is because I would just swap out one drum at a time with the Rogers. That was my safe place.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I'm going to sneak in the rack tom, or I'm going to try to sneak in the maple snare. This maple snare was the last piece. That's why I was like, we got to do this episode because I'm finally able to record the maple snare, which I will play for you now.
Hey, welcome to Mothership Gear, where we're going to talk about the coolest 1990s, 2000s, 2010 Ludwig Maple natural drum set.
You could just kind of get more of those lyrical tom rolls, the like... Hello and welcome to another episode of Mothership Gear. Today we're talking about my Ludwig Super Classic. It's a kit that we purchased back when I was in high school from West Coast Drums in Santa Ana. And today, Loren of Loren's Emporium walks me through the kit from his knowledge as kind of like a drum guy. He sells, he buys, he repairs, refurbishes drums. So he had never really seen a kit like this specifically. So we actually were able to get a hold of the guy who sold it to my family when we first got this kit when I was a kid. And he was able to give us a little bit more details and insights into this awesome drum set. It's a really cool kit because it's been with me for so long and I feel like it evolves over time somehow. It's sounding better than ever in my opinion, and I'm always finding new ways to record it here at the studio. So if you guys like drums and you like gear, then Mothership Gear is a show you'll want to check out. So subscribe to Ildefonso Inc. and please enjoy this episode. And that was Metal and Oak by Boom Theory.
Metal and Maple? Tell me what you think it's called, Spencer.
Well, we were talking to the shop owner who we bought this from because Loren happens to be friends with him. So there's a shop in Santa Ana called West Coast Drums, and they are where I got my first two drum kits, my Ludwig Accent, which is like a student level kit, and this Maple kit, which we believe is a mid-level kit called maybe a Super Classic Maple. Darren remembers maybe that this kit was a part of a Ludwig demonstration at the shop. And there was another kit like this with a more crazy kind of colorway. So he thinks it's Super Classic, so we'll go with that. Probably a Super Classic. But yeah, it has these 4 toms, 2 rack toms, 2 floor toms, and it comes with a maple snare. And I've had it for now probably 20 years.
Wow.
And I've been using it a lot lately, and so I thought it would be fun to do an episode on it. And we've been texting back and forth trying to learn as much as we can about it, because I am not a super knowledgeable drum guy. Loren is, but Loren had never seen this kit before. So we've done a lot of discovering along the way.
Yeah, this one stumped me at first because it's hard to date the 2000s Monroe badges because the serial numbers don't really lead to anywhere. And there's no like sticker on the inside saying Classic Maple or whatnot. And then thirdly, the sizes are kind of strange. The floor toms are like fast floor toms. It's like a 14 by 12 and a 16 by 14, I believe, is what we measured, which is kind of like that 90s, 2000s, like OCDP vibes. Travis Barker of like shallow toms that have like this fast attack. It's a very interesting kit that provides some unique tones.
Yeah, I was asking you because besides my Ludwig accent and my Rogers 360, this is like the only, natural finish kind of kit like this that I have. So I was like, is it warm? Is it bright? What do you think? And you said short decay.
Yeah, we were talking. It reminds me of like a Steve Gadd, almost like an entry mid-level like Yamaha recording custom. It's like these thin maple shells with no re-rings. It's like a studio kit for someone that doesn't have the studio budget for like a Yamaha recording custom.
But you were telling me those go for like $4,000, and that's kind of like maybe the Matt Cameron kind of vibe.
Yeah, definitely a really pro player would have a recording custom in their back pocket for this like kind of musical, pristine, almost sterile. Like there's no like weird, unique vibes going on with it. It sounds just like this perfect drum set, which is great for like a pop track in the studio. Yeah,
and when I had it, I was definitely playing more kind of like upbeat, alt rock. Lately, I've been using it more for, as I was describing to you, it's like a blend between a 1970s sounding Elton John track and a Lou Reed 1970s track or David Bowie. So it's been working really well, as I think those kind of frontmen started to lean towards like really heavy session players, who had lots of toms, and you could just kind of get more of those lyrical tom rolls, which is like really fun to do, which I'm like you, where I didn't really play with full racks in my second half of my career when I was a kid. It was mostly the John Bonham thing, and then when I got this, I had the racks up for a little bit, and then I eventually was like, I'm just going to take this one, which is the second rack tom, and probably the deeper floor tom, and do more of a classic Bonham setup that way. But on this Margot's record we've been recording, I've been wanting to kind of just do the Ringo Starr thing, so you could do the kind of like... kind of go straight back to your basic beat and just get it all in at once. Funny factoid, I snuck into my cousin's class at UC Ventura County. I don't remember which one that is, but something in Ventura County, Channel Islands, I want to say. They had a Beatles class, and they brought in Jeff Emmerich to do a class for the day, and we got to ask him any question we wanted. So I asked him about the drum fills on A Day in the Life, and he was like, yeah, Ringo didn't have really heavy hands, so we would just track the drums, and then we'd set up the toms and get an overhead mic and a Fairchild and compress the Fairchild, and he would do those kind of like... It's just like a really cool sound, it's like
that's
slow
cool.
toms. So
nice factoid.
Yeah, so I try to think of Ringo and Jeff Emmerich, and just like let the toms ring out. But then, as you were saying, there is a short decay on this, so you don't get too much boinginess, which is cool. But it's also not as dead as maybe like the 60s Rogers kit can sometimes get. So
right,
it adds a little bit to the music, when you need to break it up a bit.
And a lot of, I think, younger people recording or people new to recording, try to dampen these drums a lot, which is definitely a great sound. But in like a full mix, even though these are wide open, they're going to sound so focused with that shallow depth. You're not going to hear all these Wow. Sorry. That was loud in my ear. You're not going to hear all these loud overtones.
So before I was in this space, I have had totally unconventional spaces. Very rarely am I ever recording drums myself. And then if I am, very rarely am I ever in a treated studio. I started in a warehouse. I started in my mom's bedroom with carpet, and actually that room sounded really good.
Yeah.
And then... No, I actually started in her bedroom. My drums were set up in my mom's bedroom.
No sleeping tonight, Mom. We're playing drums.
Yeah, one time we had band practice at like 11 p.m. and
God bless her.
We were like, we'll do the Ringo Starr thing. And Paul Doyle, who's an amazing drummer in Orange County and probably now LA, we're like, Paul, just put the shirts on the drums and no one will hear it. We had a full-blown band practice, and to Paul's credit, he played really softly and tastefully. And then the next morning, the neighbor, like a couple houses down, talked to my mom and told her that he was really offended that we decided to have band practice. And so I had to go and apologize for the thing. So we didn't get away with it. But that whole house was carpeted. And so I'd move around room to room and set up these drums. And these drums never really sounded good in the carpeted space, nor in the warehouse space, nor in the cement loft where we shot a lot of podcasts. And now finally I have my like old wood style textures that I think really resonate well with this kit. So now I'm able to use it. And it's like just bright enough to where you could get that attack that you want in the track. But it's also dead enough that it's not poking out too much.
Yeah, I think that kit is like what we said, like almost like the entry-level recording custom where you just kind of tune it up as is and it sits in the mix really pleasantly.
Yeah, I think these kits go for like $1,300.
Yeah, so if you find one of these for $1,000 or less, you got a bargain, especially for 2 up and 2 down, 2 rack toms, 2 floor toms, for under $2,000. I think it's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. And this era, I was reading forums of like 2005. If you go on gearspace.com and just type in 2005 Ludwig Super Classic, you can hear their explanation of the kit. And they're like, if you want the Ringo sound, this is not the kit. If you want the Bonham sound, it's pretty much not the kit. But it will get you a nice sound for more modern playing. And I think the age of this kit, being 20 years old now, I think is starting to age into what I expected from it back in the day. So to me, it's like you can get kind of like that punchier take on a 60s, 70s drum sound. So you land in the 90s. I also think of Jeff Buckley's record brings that drum sound. It's kind of what I think this is.
So you've had these drums for going on 20 years, and over that lifespan, it's lived many different lives in many different rooms, and you finally kind of wrangled it for a usable sound. I think it's kind of cool that when you're younger, you're given a tool and you have to adapt your entire world around it. And now that you've grown up and you have all these other tools, now it can have a specific place where before it had to fill all these shoes. I think it's cool that it can just live in this area of like, this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I always describe, because I was never a gearhead. I would just kind of go in the store and be like, I have this much money. I'm going to just walk out with a guitar or with a drum kit, and I'd just go by aesthetics most of the time.
Yeah.
And I did learn early on that as soon as you own your second guitar or your second drum kit, that's when you learn what the previous one actually sounded like, because now you have a comparison point. So for me, it was actually the third kit of getting the vintage Rogers and the 70s Superphonic Ludwig snare, where I was like, oh, this is the sound that I've been looking for. And so I was able to slowly, like you said, get this kit where I wanted it to be, because I had that other kit as a reference point. So
yeah,
where we got to today is because I would just swap out one drum at a time with the Rogers. That was my safe place.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I'm going to sneak in the rack tom, or I'm going to try to sneak in the maple snare. This maple snare was the last piece. That's why I was like, we got to do this episode, because I'm finally able to record the maple snare, which I will play for you now. And here's no wallet. So I was trying to get it to sound more like the vintage Superphonic. How would you describe the snare? Because again, I don't have a lot of reference points. I only have a couple snare drums.
I think it's really unique for being maybe like a standard Maple 5.5 by 14 snare. It has a sound. When I first heard it, when I walked in, you had the wallet on it. I was like, dude, this sounds like a rap song, like a drum machine, just like this like iconic kind of short, buzzy
JJ Cale.
Yeah, or like the Strokes or something. You know,
Totally.
It's like impersonating a fake drum, but that's the real thing.
Totally. Yeah, that's by design, because I don't really play live. So for recording purposes, the short decay, pitch to where it's at, which you kind of describe it as mid. For me, I think of it as high, but it just sits in the pocket to where you could hear it. Enough strainer so there's a tight decay, but not so tight that you're like not really getting the snare sound.
Right.
And it just makes it so you could hit it really soft and it's still a usable sound. Like sometimes with the louder snare drums, the Tom and Terminator, if you hit that soft with no like wallet or anything, it's like, you know, it's like all in your face.
It needs like a really hard hit to like bring it, focus it, where this is already focused.
Yeah. And so before I was recording in this room, I would get that effect all the time where I'm like, geez, this thing's just got too many overtones. It's ringing too much. And yeah, just slowly A and Bing between the Superphonic and this one. I was like, you know what? I believe in the snare drum. I really want to use it. Like, I love using weird old gear. If you guys saw the cold open, we ran Loren's rig through an acoustic crate amp.
Whatever works.
So yeah, we love weird stuff on Mothership Gear, and we wanted to find a way to highlight this drum kit, and now we have.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, to close, I think the big picture we're getting at is it's nice when you have multiple things that can have one purpose instead of being a jack of all trades. And this kit excels at being a really pristine studio kit. And if you like pristine gear, weird gear, using gear that you probably shouldn't use for a purpose, join us next time on Mothership Gear.
See ya.
Thank you so much for watching Mothership Gear. Huge shout out to Darren from West Coast Drums and Loren of Loren's Emporium for providing some insights behind this kit. If you guys want to follow Loren, he's on Instagram at Loren's Emporium. And if you guys want more episodes and content of Mothership Gear, then subscribe here to Ildefonso Inc. And we will see you guys next time. Later.